Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by A.G. Hines Company. If you're starting a do-it-yourself project this spring or summer, be smart. Start it with the company that has been doing it right for 100 years, 100 plus years. The right building materials, the right tools for whatever your project is, they've got it, and they can help you get it. And you can build cost-efficient, energy-efficient projects by turning to East Tennessee's century-old leader in building materials, A.G. Hines Company. I spoke with Gordon Hines yesterday, just a tremendous individual. His family's great. These are good people to do business with, or they wouldn't be around for a century, folks. aghines.com, A.G. Hines in downtown Knoxville, right on Hines Street. All right, I want to welcome in the next two members of our panel. Right down here, longtime sports writer Chuck Cavaleris, longtime media guy. Chuck, thanks for being here. Right over here from the mornings on 99.1 The Sports Animal, Vince Ferrara. Vince, thanks for joining us.
Always great to be here.
All right. We talked a little about new fan amenities and the way to drive people into campus and get them around these games in the last segment. But let's talk about fan expenses in this one, namely ticket prices. What I'm going to show you here first, these are NFL games, all right? So according to SeatGeek, the average price of a ticket for these NFL games, and those are the most expensive games right now on the market, but according to these, the top NFL game, number 10, is $461. That's the 10th highest game right now. So if you wanted a ticket for that game, $461. And most of these, as you notice, are for Raiders games. So everybody's wanting to see their team in Las Vegas.
Go Raiders.
The top one, the average ticket price for the Eagles at Patriots, now that's the Tom Brady in memory game, $1,022. The average price on the secondary market's $1,000. The average ticket price for an NFL game, period, on the whole, just any NFL game, average ticket price, $331. You want to go get one seat to one NFL game, $331. That got me wondering, what does Tennessee's ticket price look like home and away? So this isn't a Tennessee thing. This is just a football thing. Tennessee actually dropped some of the ticket prices. I guess that was last year. So I'm not trying to get on Tennessee. This is an everywhere issue. So let's take a look at the next graphic. This is Tennessee's schedule. And I've got the highest, priciest games at the top all the way down to the bottom. That Georgia game on the left are SeatGeek's lowest price for that game. Then you got the SeatGeek average price for that game. Then you got the SeatGeek highest price for that game. Georgia is tops on Tennessee's list, $216. Secondary market, that's the lowest seat you're going to get, lowest price you're going to get. The average for the Georgia game, $535 for one seat. The highest, $1,383. Alabama and Tuscaloosa is next. Kentucky and Lexington is next. Three of your top five are people wanting to see you. Come to Alabama, come to Kentucky, come to Florida. All those have a low season ticket price of at least $100. But you look at the bottom there, the average seat, the lowest average you can get for if you went to all these games, $93. All right? The average seat, though, the average overall, $267. And the average high end for a Tennessee game this year is $748. But the NFL, you're looking at $330 a game. For Tennessee this year, average in the secondary market, you're looking at $250, basically, $260. Josh, you have kids, you work, your wife works. Is it getting too much for Joe Average fan? If you didn't have press passes and everything else, is it getting too much for the average fan, or do you just say it's cost of living?
Well, it is a little bit of cost of living, but to the average fan, yeah, I think it's getting too much. If you really want to take a family to the game, there's a reason that some of those games, the lower price on that list, like a UTSA or UConn or Austin Peay, those are the bottom for a reason. That week or 2 weeks leading up to it on the radio, we'll say, hey, if you want to get to a game, this is a good opportunity because it's more affordable. You have a better chance to get there from an affordability standpoint. The reason the prices are going up is because you have this demand. So that says something about the popularity of it. But to your question, for the average fan with a family that's going to have to buy a bunch of tickets and spend money on concessions and parking and all that, yeah, it's a lot. So you have to probably pick and choose a game, maybe a couple of games.
Is it too much, Chuck?
Oh, yes. I mean, and like you were saying, the family of four. I mean, that just gets you in the gate, right? That doesn't count the parking. That doesn't count the other things. And that's what really adds up. And I think, guys, that's a reason we've talked for several years now. College football attendance hadn't kept going up and up and up. They've been having more and more problems just holding on to what they got. So I just think you've got to be careful. I mean, I don't have one yet, but when I can have a high-def TV, That's the best seat in the house right there in front of that TV.
What'd you say? You don't have a high def?
No, I don't have a high def TV.
What?
No, not high, not high, not the
4K.
new stuff. Yeah,
4K. You've got
right.
HD.
Right. Well,
Okay. I was about to say.
Color? Do you have color? All right.
it's 12 years
Just the
old.
rabbit
We're about to
ears?
start a GoFundMe.
Yeah, no kidding.
I've been there.
Don't admit things like that. Okay, Vince.
It is too much. The tough thing is for a lot that can't afford it is there's others that can, or else they wouldn't
Yep.
do it.
That's
'Cause
right.
It is a supply and demand, and it's making that $5 spring game seem a little bit more of a planning of what you can get to. It is unfortunate, and you do have to compete against, like Chuck was referring to, what the experience is like at home, where you can watch, especially people into gambling, fantasy, all that kind of stuff.
I'm sitting here looking. We have when I built this new set last summer, I wanted to include programs, tickets, and we've got tickets all around. Well, there's tickets back here behind me.
Right.
This is a basketball ticket. That's from 1980. The price on it, $5. This 1990. It's a football ticket, Tennessee, Florida, $19.
Wow.
The same thing over there, the Notre Dame tickets, $19.
That was 1990 as well. So yeah, you've got 19. So in 32 years, 33 years, you've gone from now that's face, but still that's a pretty big jump when you're looking at $1,000 for a
Well,
high
here's the
end
thing.
ticket.
The cost of the ticket's face value has way outstripped inflation. I mean, it's, $19, 1990, 30 some odd years ago.
Yeah.
No, it hadn't been.
You get season tickets. What do you?
500%.
Yeah. What ballpark? What do you think your average is if it's 19?
By the time we make
then?
the donation and everything, it probably costs somewhere around, for a season ticket holder, I'm going to say it costs $150, $160
Per
a
ticket.
game, including the donation.
Yeah.
And that's averaging in the lower price tickets.
So
and
we're
higher
not.
price
Yeah.
tickets.
So we're not counting the donation that it took to get a $19 ticket back then. If you
Did
had
you
to
have
make
to
a
make a
donation,
donation
yeah,
back
you
then
probably
to get a
didn't in that.
$19?
Yeah, like the NFL, the personal seat licenses as well. So yeah, there's a lot of extra.
But
costs
once you're
too.
inside the stadium, to go to Chuck's point, I mean, once you pay a high price, then the prices really go up.
Well, if you like an $8 water.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
If you really like
I
water,
mean,
then
it
get with
is-
English Mountain Spring water and take your own in there. Anyway.
When you're in there, in the Inland Stadium, you don't see a lot, I don't think, of families with 2 or 3 kids. It's mostly adults, and I think the reason is part of that is it takes a lot of money to take a family of 4 into that stadium, even if you're not buying on the aftermarket.
Which the interesting thing there is you're making your money, but are you, and I guess if you're winning, people are going to be pulling for your team on television anyway, but are you losing? My father used to take me when I was a kid. I remember I was really little. I went to a game with my grandparents.
right.
I was 6 years old. It would have been 77. That was Major's first year. So when you don't go, I mean, 6-year-old kid going to a ball game, oh, I was hooked forever, hooked forever. But if you're not going at that age, is it just something I'll watch on TV? I didn't grow up going. I just watch it on TV.
And I think
Do you lose
that's
something?
a real fear. I think that is a real fear when you don't get raised and that being a big deal to be there.
And that's what I'm all about here, real fear. Okay. By the way, next week, since we're talking about UT football in this segment, I want to tell you what we got coming up next week on the show. It's going to be a good one. We're going to do a full game-by-game breakdown of the schedule. We're going to be ranking Tennessee's foes, toughest back-to-back games. Who are we underestimating? Who are we overestimating? Which coach-quarterback combo scares us the most? What's the toughest month? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to be a full breakdown of Tennessee's schedule. That is next Sunday right here. Now, when we come back, what are the odds of Tennessee having 2 teams make the World Series this year? The one in softball, the one in baseball. We'll discuss softball and baseball next. Going back on the Sports Show.